and it will just skyrocket.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, in theory, right there, your credibility has been really strong. I mean, I remember early on, I think I got footage actually of this. Mariana Hewitt does such a wonderful job, but she was in your class. I had done green screen with her years ago. This was
Right.
so early on.
I would have
Mhm.
never thunk it, but I guess it's just something you're sort of, you pressed into and you either sink
Yeah.
or swim.
I got two questions about credibility, I guess, like credibility or appreciation. Do you think enough people, like as we are now, all these years removed from, like respect what your grandfather did with the Abbott and Costello comedy duo? That's one part of the question. And you personally, in your business, I'm wondering if you feel that you have not got the respect of what you had done as far as creating talent to be hosts and go further in that world by identifying what their brand is. You were the very first person about 8 years, maybe even 9 years before every single person who was pursuing a thing, a cook, the legal eagle, whatever it was, that you have to have your brand. So I'm just wondering, credibility wise, do you feel like you haven't got your flowers? Do you feel like as time has went on, people don't respect, the Abbott and Costello duo of what they brought to the table? Where do you feel with some of those kinds of things?
It's interesting because I did a podcast yesterday and we talked about legacy and we had this amazing conversation about everybody paves the way for the next person. And I think what's kind of lost on this young generation is not realizing everybody else who paved the way. It's interesting because especially I've put over 22,000 brands and people on platforms. I mean, I have people that come up to me that say, I hated your class because you would always tell us brand, brand, brand. And I didn't know
Mm-hmm.
what my brand was, but I got it 2 years later. And now I'm
Mm-hmm.
sitting here and making X amount of dollars. I think my gift and curse is I sort of see things trending before they happen.
Mm-hmm.
And so being able to say to someone like, look, I remember giving this girl this great brand of, hey, social media is colliding and doing like
Mm-hmm.
a countdown. And then, of course, 2 years later, everybody was doing that creative or be a foodie. And,
Mm-hmm.
now so many people are foodies. And then even the where we've evolved with social media, I go to these businesses and I say to them, like, okay, perfect example. That sandwich shop that had the pickle, what's it called? That sandwich that everybody was eating, this pickled sandwich. And I go to get one, and the guy's like, yeah, we're out of pickles. I'm like, what do you mean you're out of pickles? You're doing this for 2 weeks, and how are you out of pickles? And the guy was like, well, our manager thought we'd only sell like 3 a day. And I go, well, your manager's a moron because they're not factoring these businesses, the
Mm-hmm.
power of Instagram and especially TikTok. People literally eat in their cars and they're
Yeah.
eating pickle witches. And if someone's scrolling, I'm like, ooh, that's good. And the way the algorithm works is if you watch a video for more than 20 seconds on a pickle gosh darn sandwich, they're going to
Mm-hmm.
keep putting them in your For You page, right? Like,
Right.
so I tell people now that are like, I want to be a host. I want to have a TV show. I'm like, no, what you want to do is build your social platform, build your brand, and really pump out great content on social media, cross promote, get people to be guests on yours based on your creative and your brand with another person's creative and brand. And it will just skyrocket.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, in theory, right there, your credibility has been really strong. I mean, I remember early on, I think I got footage actually of this. Mariana Hewitt does such a wonderful job, but she was in your class. I had done green screen with her years ago. This was
Right.
so early on. And so,
Right.
Marki, though you are looked at as tough, and your name was the drama queen
Right.
on the TV show. And by the way, later in this episode, I'm gonna tell you where you messed up on the drama queen. I'm gonna tell you,
Okay.
because I got to school you back, right? But it is the truth. It's like that's the thing. And I think it's like with anything that you do. If you are willing to listen and sort of workshop these ideas that come into your universe, you have an opportunity to like swing the bat and really connect and hit that home run. But a lot of people I do know, they would listen to you, but they would also have a heavy opinion. And I think it really sucked as time went by, once everyone went direct to connect, type of social media or whatever, suddenly they didn't want to necessarily listen like they used to. So I just think that the principles that you taught way back in the day, they still stick around. And when you do a digital thing, a social media thing, you can cut corners, but the essence of a brand is always going to be specific and it's worthy, you know, and that's why I refer to your grandfather, Lou Costello. Like, that doesn't go away. You know, that doesn't go away just because we're in a different era. Can you talk to me real quick about his era of comedy?
Hey, Ronnie Jr.